disability does not define us. Blindness doesn't define us. I'm just so proud to work alongside you.
This is either gonna save me or kill. So let's go with it's something that I could focus on and get excited.
You did such a great job keeping the conversation vulnerable and allowing people or our guests to engage in comfortable or uncomfortable conversation. It creates this community of support that feel like every single one of our podcast guests show that anything is possible. If it doesn't show what does the beauty behind the capacity of people, which is our mission, to enable and empower people who are blind or low vision to realize their full potential.
A green tinted screen and braille lettering pops up that turns into the white Lighthouse of Houston logo. The Sightless Voices Unleashing Potential cover art pops up on screen. There's a flash, then clips of Jennifer's eye, her walking down the hall, and reading braille appear. A montage of clips from episodes of the podcast begins with Jennifer talking to our guests and smiling. It zooms in on the Sightless Voices Unleashing Potential cover art.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of Sightless Voices Unleashing Potential. I am, of course, your hostie with the mostie. And y'all, today's a day. We are finally celebrating our 1-year anniversary. Happy anniversary. Let's pop a bottle. We forgot one. We'll do that later. Anyway, so welcome. And today we have the person that started it all. We have Miss Jenna Dhayer. She is the president of the Lighthouse of Houston, and she's joining us to hang out, and we're going to talk and reflect and
have a good time.
Have a good time, and discuss the stuff we did in the past year and how we're going to move forward and good stuff. So before we begin, we're going to describe the set for our blind, low vision viewers and listeners, not viewers. I did that again.
Well, there's viewers on YouTube.
That's true. Okay, so the backdrop is a white brick wall with blue lights and a neon lighthouse sign behind us. And so, Jenna, thank you for coming back to this.
It's been a year.
It's totally
been an awesome year.
Yes, it has really been an awesome year. I'm so excited that this has gone on and becomes what it's become. People are watching, from all over everywhere. So to get this episode started and before we jump into our reflections, I wanted to share a very special message from one of our listeners who this lady really touched us all. Her name is Elizabeth Mills. She is from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, my home state of all places. And she is a certified nature and forest therapy guide. Very cool. And so to summarize, so I get this phone call and it's from 717 area code. And I'm like, what is this? Okay, because none of our, for my day job, my contracts are not that area code. And then I read the voicemail because we get transcripts of it. And she says, and she was a fan, and she's like, she was going to have some visually impaired people in her trauma group, and she wanted to learn how to manage dealing with, and I say dealing with lightly, but just manage visually impaired and low vision individuals, because she was going to have to lead them all around her farm. She holds this trauma group on her farm, and so she was telling me all about this. I called her back. We ended up talking for an hour. And she was telling me all about this and was like just so excited and had learned so much from the podcast, and it was so cool to be able to talk to her. Well, she had her trauma group, and she did great and sent me some pictures with descriptive captions on them, which was really, really cool, that because she was asking me about how to do alt text and things like that. And so she sent just this really lovely email after she had her event. And so shout out to Miss Elizabeth Mills, and this was her message. She writes, "It's your fan from Pennsylvania," which that always made me smile. "I am listening. I'm still listening, and I am learning from the podcast. So informative and inspiring. I think the biggest takeaway for me regarding understanding blind versus sighted people is that we are all people. We have more in common than we don't. I think that is actually true with anyone that is quote unquote different from us. I'm sorry." And then she says, "Don't you?" She says, "The insight and inspiration that that I have gained from the podcast has really supported me professionally and personally as I understand others just a little bit better. Thank you so much. So,
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah, it's very awesome.
Shout out to Elizabeth.
Yes.
Who just happens to be in
PA.
your most favorite state.
Yes.
Ever.
So, right. Which is crazy. Like, I just couldn't even believe that. It was amazing.
That's awesome, Jennifer. I mean, hopefully when you heard that, you got that message and you talked to her, you realized just the impact of what not just the podcast is having on people and the reach, but also the impact that you specifically are having by exposing our guests, but also you and your personality, because you obviously, as the host, add a tremendous amount to the podcast. But I mean, I think that's what I just wanted to make sure I reflected on at some point during this 1-year anniversary podcast was not just the growth of the podcast and the impact of the podcast, but you specifically, and not just in your role as a manager of our contract services related to document management and call center, but being in this role. And I know when we first came to you, you had just been in your manager role for a few months. And then, as you said, we sort of threw this at you, but it was really the perfect fit. And you have done an amazing job making our guests feel welcomed and challenged in the conversation, but also exposing all the things that I think that not just the Lighthouse, but society in general, which is what Elizabeth is talking about.
Exactly.
Is that how do we look at each other and treat each other as human beings and not a disability? And I think somebody quoted, I don't remember who quoted it along the way, but the disability does not define us.
Yep. Blindness doesn't define us.
Blindness doesn't define us. And
Yes.
so I'm just so proud to work alongside you. I'm excited to be on this 1-year podcast to learn about just, all the fun stuff that has happened, the little bloopers here and there.
Yeah.
But just wanted to make sure that as a leader within the organization, that we recognize your impact that you've had on the greater community, which has obviously reached not just people in the States. And we've got, I think, guests and visitors from Switzerland and all across the country and around the world. So thank you for the impact that you're making on the community.
Thank you.
And us.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride because, as I've probably stated here a couple of times, when I was asked to do this, I was like, what?
You were sort of voluntold.
Kind of.
A little bit.
There you go.
You think?
A little bit. A little bit.
You jumped right on board.
But yeah, I mean, because look, so last year I was going through a lot. I mean, we won't have to dive too far down that rabbit hole, but I was going through a lot. And, I was like, this is either going to save me or kill me. So I was like, let's go with part A. And it's something that I could focus on, and get excited about. And if not a little bit nervous the first time we filmed, the very first time. And luckily we had to redo it, which we'll tell that story in a minute. But I was like, my asthma was acting up. I could barely breathe, and I was nervous. And Freddie's like, dude, we gotta.
Couldn't tell that.
Yeah,
Nobody
thank God.
could tell that. It was just you that could. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to get my breathing under control, and and our lovely producer, Mr. Freddie, shout out to Mr. Freddie, woo woo. He's like teaching me effective ways to breathe and all this stuff, and I'm like, okay, I don't know,
As you're like,
right, and lights in your face, and because I mean, for those of you that only listen, it looks like a TV studio in here. So it's
state of the art.
Yow, right in your face, which is awesome. But that was the first time I had encountered things like this before, and it was like, whoa.
Under the bright lights, baby.
Yep, exactly. But man,
Dude, listen, Jennifer, it took you like 5 minutes to own it.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say 5 minutes, but
I think it was 5 minutes, even the first and the second time.
Yeah.
That we had to repeat.
Right. We had to repeat the first 3 episodes, y'all, just because we're rookies and we had some kinks to work out. I think there was like a big block on one of the YouTube videos, and just like a light something right in the middle. And so
I mean, it was like a dot.
it was a dot.
A hideous dot.
Yes, big dot.
If it would have been like right here in front of like my face, that would have been fine.
Right.
But
No,
anyway,
mine too. Like,
but it was great.
block
I
us
mean,
out.
and that's the thing is about our guests.
Yeah.
We've had so many incredibly awesome guests, but in that particular situation where we had, I think we'd videoed 3.
Yeah.
We'd done 3.
we had done
Right?
3. Yes.
And we had to redo all 3, which obviously I was happy to come back because I work in the building, right?
Right.
But our other 2, they didn't have any issues. They came back and the
No.
episodes were just as good and they
Yes.
had just as many really great nuggets and you did just as great a job and they were comfortable, which you do an amazing job making everybody feel comfortable and then
you.
drawing all these great things that people can learn and you do that. You bring that out, you bring that out of everybody.
Thank you. Luckily, it was 2 people that I knew, and one of them like quite well. So Stephen
Yeah.
and Marcella, thank y'all.
Shout out.
Shout out, because yes, like it was crazy. But honestly, I kind of looking back, I appreciate it because that was a good way for me to dive in
Yeah.
the pool and at least like get one couple under my belt and do it again.
Yeah. Well, and our crew behind the scenes, Darian
Yes.
and obviously Freddie, I mean,
Yep.
then they were able to actually button some things up and,
Right.
Tweak some things. So, yeah, well, it was maybe one of our interesting highlights of being rookies.
Yes.
I do feel like, and I mean, at least when I watch them, that the production is amazing, obviously.
Absolutely.
But every episode just keeps getting better. And I personally cannot wait every 2 weeks for the next episode to come out. And I obviously have some behind the scenes and I kind of know what type of guests and what's going on, but I don't know what you're going to draw out of them or what they're going to draw out of you. And they've been amazing. Like what have been some of your highlights?
So let's start with some funny ones.
Okay.
So we have, let's see. Michael McCulloch. We love Michael McCulloch, Mr. World Traveler,
Yes, and board member.
And board member, shout out. But he's like wrapping it up. Like he's telling his story, boy.
His episode was fantastic.
It was
too.
awesome. Yes, he was. I mean, dude, you are so athletic. I want to be like you when I grow up,
There's
Michael.
so much behind that.
Yes.
You have to peel back the layers, and Michael has he probably could have gone on for days.
Oh yeah,
in podcast.
we might want to get him back.
But yeah,
'cause
it was.
He's on
something
another
towards the
adventure now.
end, right?
Yes, yeah. So he's just wrapping it up, telling his story, and then he starts talking about this movie, Risky Business, which I'm obviously familiar with. It's Tom Cruise, but I had never seen it, because I've short attention span. I don't watch too many movies. So he's like going on and quoting, and the quote was like, sometimes you just gotta say what the F. And I was not ready.
And said it.
And he said it, and I'm sure, and like,
But
and
he did say, in all fairness,
Yes.
oh, you're probably going to have to bleep that.
this, yes.
I mean, we did, but probably didn't need to, right? I mean,
No,
this is a very authentic,
right.
open
It was
podcast.
awesome. This exactly. We keeps it real, y'all.
I think I may have jerked in a different lane when I heard that.
Yes, 'cause I'm
I
like,
hadn't seen that side of Michael.
Ooh, okay, cool. So that was great, and it's not only funny, but it's real. So as a blind person, laughter is the bridge between vulnerability and connection. And when I was a kid, man, I just had this epiphany when I was 10 years old. And it was like, I got to make people laugh so they'll feel more comfortable with me. Because I got people pick on blind people. They pick on people that are different. I got it too. So it's like either cry in your cornflakes or figure it out, dude. And so... it was
How many
like
of the things could we pull out that you've said over the past so many episodes?
we need JP isms.
Crying in your cornflakes.
But it's true though. So yeah, and so just that's a way to overcome that I learned very early on. so there's that. But anyway, and so those are my funny ones, and then we've had some really impactful guys too, like really, really impactful guests.
I mean, every episode has been
Yes,
in its own way, in its own right,
hugely impactful.
so impactful. And I think, Jennifer, if you remember when we had our first episode, and you talk about vulnerability,
Yeah.
and but even before we started the podcast, one of the things that I wanted to make sure, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted it to be also aired on YouTube, that there was a visual aspect to it, because I want people to see the human beings
Yep.
behind the conversation or behind the vulnerability or whatever is going on. And so, throughout the podcast, you did such a great job keeping the conversation vulnerable and allowing people or our guests to engage in comfortable or uncomfortable conversations.
Absolutely. Yeah. There was a lot of discussions about folks who had lost their vision later in life. And I mean, for me, and as I've stated before, I have been, visually impaired, blind all my life. So I don't have this experience under my belt of losing it along the way. It's just always been this way. And some of these folks' stories have been incredible. I mean, and scary downright.
Oh, yeah. We had the catastrophic impact.
Yep.
I mean, Jennifer, we talk about a statistic, and I can't cite it right now, but it's around 95% of people who are impacted by vision loss are not born that way.
Right.
Which is just
it's wild.
A crazy number. And, obviously I've said before, and I was on the first podcast, I don't have a visual difficulty. But obviously I'm around. I mean, this is my community. I cannot even imagine, but also can imagine because I'm around so many different people, like the folks that we've had on the podcast that were catastrophically impacted. And in some cases, literally and physically overnight.
Yeah, literally. I mean, we have people who were driving, several of them who were driving.
That just went blind.
It just went blind, and then, we've got drive-bys, we've got
car accidents,
just all this kind of stuff, man. And it blows my mind. I mean, some of these folks, I had to keep the tears back, because I can't even imagine, what that's been like. And I know other people who have lost their vision, through disease and things like that. And it's just like, wow, man, I'm so thankful, and I hate to put it that way, but I'm thankful that this is the way I am and this is all I know. So there's, it just blows my mind.
Yeah, it's almost hard to compare, but it's a community that supports each other, and I think that's what this podcast also does.
Oh, exactly.
It creates this community of support that I feel like every single one of our podcast guests showed that anything is possible. From I'm a musician to I run my own business to I'm an IT guru and genius or I climb Machu Picchu. I mean, it's just, if it doesn't show what just the beauty behind the capacity of people, which is our mission, right? It's to enable and empower people who are blind or low vision to realize their full potential. And that full potential, I think, is what we consistently have been able to see, or you've been able to pull out of our guests about what's possible and what potential might look like.
Right, exactly. And we're only going up from here.
Yeah.
Y'all. So, for me, this past year has been just learning from people from all walks of life. They're following their dreams, they're doing their thing, like you said. And it's just, it's been, I mean, it's so much, just in so incredibly many different stories and really special guests. But now, guys, we're moving forward, and y'all just wait, because we got some things coming up next season.
I will agree. I think we've got maybe 6 or 7 in the queue that are lined up, and we'll still do 2 a month.
Right.
I think that's our frequency schedule.
Correct.
So,
it's the first and third Tuesday of every month.
Yeah, first and third Tuesday. Jennifer, again, does a great job pulling the best out of everybody and showcasing, what capacity might look like and all the incredible guests that we have. But yeah, I think it's something to look forward to for sure.
Absolutely. Well, Jenna, thank you for coming back and saying a little happy 1 year anniversary.
I know.
We get
pop a virtual cork.
Exactly. Yes. And we'll do the Bennigan's anniversary song.
Yep. Yep.
Back
Happy
in the
anniversary.
day.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. No, I'm excited, and not just excited for the podcast, but also what the Lighthouse of Houston is doing. I mean, this past year we served a little over 25,000 people through all of our different programs and services and information and referral. Continuing to increase jobs for people that are blind or low vision through the contracts that we've got, call center, obviously document management. Those are the two that you manage
Yes.
or lead for the organization, and then our kitting and packaging and fulfillment division. So, we're constantly just out there trying to spread the word, tell the story. This podcast obviously helps with that tremendously. And I do think that there's been a number of people, it's not just I do or I think, I know that people have made this connection with the podcast and have come in and gotten support. We have people out in the community that watch it, that brought their family member in for the first time, and they're getting the support that they need to be able to just talk to their grandkids on the phone.
Yeah.
Or go out and get a job. So appreciate you so much, and all that you bring to the Lighthouse of Houston, all that you bring to the community. You are an amazing hostie with the mostie. You look incredible every time you pop on.
Thank you.
But yeah, just really excited about where we're going at the Lighthouse and the impact that we're making in the community.
Cheers to that.
Yeah, cheers. Virtual
Yes.
cheers. Cheers.
To our listeners, y'all, I can't believe there's so many of you guys out there. It's really so cool. When I got that phone
That's
call
you.
from Miss Elizabeth, I was like, oh, people are watching.
Yeah.
But we want to thank you for your support, your stories, and your heart. Whether you've been with us since the beginning or you've just discovered Sightless Voices, Unleashing Potential, we are very incredibly grateful that everyone is hanging on with us. And we'd love to hear from you. So share your favorite moments or your lessons or, your favorite guests on social media, or you can email us directly. We'd love to hear from you.
Call Jennifer.
Or call me.
She loves the messages.
I do love them, and I love all the feedback.
Listen, y'all. In a Texas way, Jennifer leads 44 people across 6 states. So it's not always sunshine and roses, although we've got amazing staff.
Yes,
so
we
shout
do.
out to our amazing staff.
Shout out
We've
to
got
all my peeps.
About 84 staff on our team, and Jennifer leads just darn nearly half of them. But tell you what, give her a call. Let her know the impact that she's making on the podcast.
Absolutely. I love to hear from you, man. Just getting those emails. Sometimes I'm having a bad day and something like this will pop up, and boy,
You don't have bad days. Kyle.
Exactly. But anyway, shoot me an email. I'd love it. Or give me a call. Remember, you guys, you can find episodes of Sightless Voices Unleashing Potential on our YouTube channel or wherever you get your podcasts, as always. And visit our website, HoustonLighthouse.org, to see all of the fun stuff we've got going on. Oh, man, it's just loads and loads.
Go to the calendar of events.
Yes, do that. Calendar is getting full. So, and man, it's fuller than it ever has been. So I'm excited.
Awesome.
Yes, ma'am. And so, all right. So here's to another year 2 of Sightless
Yes.
Voices Unleashing Potential. Cheers.
Cheers.
Woo!
Thanks, everybody.
Thank y'all.